Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Successful as Fuck show. I have Alison Crosthwait with me today. Welcome, Alison.
Thank you, Riah. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited to be here with you too. And as you guys know, I'm Riah Gonzalez. I am the host of the show. We are coming to you live with StreamYard. StreamYard is a little particular, and they will not allow your comments to show unless you press the permission to show your name. So if you have never done that before, we would ask that you do that. If you're here with us live, please let us know you're here. Say hi. If you are watching the replay, put replay in the comments so that we can come back and give you some love. Alison, thanks for joining. And we're going to dive into, Alison has a really amazing story of her journey through just adversity and overcoming and really coming into her own. And I wanted to have her on the show and have her share that. So why don't we start, Alison, by having you tell us a little bit about who you are and how you serve people.
Sure. So yes, as you said, right, it's been a journey. At this point in my life, I call myself a transformational guide. So I had a corporate career, then a career as a psychotherapist, and I've stepped away from both of those to hold space. I call it ceremonial space for psychedelic healing. And I use a very particular process that has preparation, facilitation, and then integration, so that whatever your intention is for the psychedelic healing, it gets realized. And that's really the key. You read a lot right now about psilocybin and LSD being used for mental health and high performance. And my view is that the key is really having that guidance and that structure to work with the energy all the way through. And that's what I offer in my programs. I offer both micro and macro dosing programs.
Love it. Love it. And it's so unique because, I've never met anyone like you before, both in what you do and just in your energy. So I'm really excited to share that. Why don't we dive in and have you tell us a little bit about a story of something that happened professionally or personally for you that was transformational, and start with what success and what accomplishment felt like for you beforehand. What did that look like? And then after the journey, how did that, what happened and how did that change for you?
Oh my gosh, these are just mind-blowing questions. I know this is about your book, and I could write like 5 books on 5 different stories. It's such a good question. So when I was on Wall Street as a stock trader, success was title, how good the firm was, and how much money I made. It was also, how do I look, for sure. That was success. And then all the rest came second. Yeah. And as you can imagine, that is a recipe for no fun at all. Right. So my health really suffered. I was drinking too much, really stressed out. Things people said would just like go through me. Like I was so permeable. I had no ability to kind of go, maybe that's not right.
Right.
My self-esteem was very based on what everybody else said. And it's a pretty intense industry, and I had to push really, really, really hard all the time. And as a result, my relationships weren't good. My health wasn't good. And eventually over time, and I stress this, over time, I've come to see the beauty in the journey. And through a long other journey of trying to have a baby, I eventually hit rock bottom. And I found psychedelic medicine at that time. And I've been working on myself for a long time, doing a lot of therapy and meditation and health practices, partly around fertility, partly around just my own stress. And what I've come to on the other side of all of this is like all of the stuff I thought was success, not success anymore. It's right. Not success. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And here's the paradox. I actually am more successful now. Yeah. I'm not quite making what I was making on Wall Street, but I'm not as far off as I might think, which is shocking. I look better. I know I look better. I'm 15 years older, but because I've cleaned my energy, I just
Right.
enjoy every day. And I don't care what anybody thinks, because through the medicine, I've been able to connect to life force energy, and we can't be wrong. When we connect to life, we can't be wrong.
Right.
So it's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. When you think of moving forward in your life and what the next steps are going to be, what are you excited about? What would success look like for you in the forward trajectory for you? Like, what does that look like for you?
So to me, it's all about energy, but I don't mean something like weird by that. I actually mean physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual and sexual energy. So the more energy I have, the less the things in the world bother me and the more impact I can have. Like if I'm sitting here worried about what you're thinking, I'm in my head and I'm not able to share from my heart. So
Right.
my vision is to be as connected as possible to my life force energy so I can serve others.
That's
And
amazing.
that's my vision. And honestly, I don't care where it goes. I I think I know where it's going. I have no idea. I've
Yeah.
never known. Nobody knows. I just every day it's like what do I desire deep inside? What are the impacts? What am I creating? Is it good? Does it look good? Are people saying this is beautiful? Good. Let's keep doing it.
Yeah. I did a meditation this morning. It was I like to do these. I get them in my email box and they're little 6 minute, 5 or 6 minute meditations. And the one this morning um was so pertinent to what you're saying. And it was saying like you literally can't do it wrong. Like,
Yes.
you literally cannot, so, like, remove the guilt and the shame and, like, literally, even if you're doing the worst thing, like, you literally can't do it wrong because your life is gonna take you on a journey that you can't, predict. You have to go with it, and you have to accept the lessons that come with it.
Yep.
And so then like the meditation was, like focusing on like, okay, so what does that mean? What is possible if you literally can't do it wrong? What do you want? What do you truly desire if you
Yes.
literally cannot do it wrong? And it was just such a freeing thought for me. I mean, these, some of them are not like new thoughts, right? I mean, we hear these in different ways, but sometimes it hits in a certain way that you're just like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. You know what I mean? In this moment. And I think part of it was I've been wanting to do like a vision board, which is funny because in the book I sort of make fun of vision boards, you know what I mean? Like, but it's not like, oh, I want to make $1 bajillion and I want this kind of car kind of vision board. It's more like what quality of life, like what does quality of life look like? Does it look like like think of a be real, right? Of something like what is the be real that I want in the next year or two for my life? What do I want that to look like? And I've been really stuck with that. And I think it's because I thought, if I don't get it, I'll like fail. Or if I don't get it, I thought wrong, like I chose wrong. And so just to have that be the meditation for this morning, I mean, there's no accidents, right? But like, just like, let yourself dream. You can't dream wrong. I mean, like, it's either going to come true or it's not, like, or something, what do they say, this or something better, right? Like, it's either going to be, true or not. But if you allow yourself to wander in that direction and you allow yourself to explore, and that's like, I use the word success. And actually, I was on like a live, we did a Facebook call with a group of girlfriends that from high school. The four of us got on there together and we haven't seen each other in a while. And I was like, which one of you bitches is going to be on my podcast next or on my show next? And they're like, none of us. And I was like, why? Like, they're super successful women. And they're like, your show and your book is called Successful as Fuck, Riah. That's like really intimidating. And I'm like, this is about, you're missing like the whole point.
Yeah.
The whole point is that we are normal people and success is whatever the fuck you want it to be. So, what is success to you? Let's talk about it, So I love that you are talking about that it's the energy of all of it and that continued movement in that direction. And then also just the like loving help that you're giving people to transform their lives in a very unique way that more and more I've never done psychedelics, but I've seen more and more scientific research coming out saying that they're, backing basically what you're saying. And so I think it's really, really interesting. And I think it's like, what a life journey, right? So far,
Right.
like Wall Street, psychotherapist, transformational guide with psychedelics, like,
And I couldn't have planned this one in my 20s.
yeah,
Like, you can't plan this stuff. It
yeah.
just writes itself.
Tell me a little bit about the journey that took you from psychotherapist to transformational guide, because that feels like a big jump for you. Was there something that happened in there that really pushed you towards that direction and then helped you see that that was your next phase of success?
Right. Yeah. So my personal healing always precedes what I did for others, which I believe that's the way it should be for people in the helping professions. And so I went into psychotherapy while I was on Wall Street and then became a psychotherapist. And I reached a point in my therapy. I I want to be clear. I love therapy. I think talk therapy can be life changing. Talk therapy is a bit of a misnomer because you always are talking with your body. So
Mhm.
this idea it's just talk, it's not. It's a beautiful art that is a huge gift to society when we do it, but it's not the only thing. There's more. And I reached a point where in my healing, it wasn't enough. And as I went and searched beyond into the spiritual world and into some other realms of emotional healing, I was able to completely rewire myself in a whole nother way. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without the foundation of psychotherapy. Um, it was really, really, really important. And that started, so I did that. And then as I was practicing as a therapist, it sort of started to not fit me as well because a couple reasons. One is I couldn't bring everything I knew could help my clients to my clients
Right.
because they were coming in pain. And I was like, okay, see you next week. So that's one piece. And the other piece is, and let me be clear, as a regulated health professional, you're generally not allowed to recommend psychedelics. And I was not allowed. So here I am knowing that I've changed, and my clients are saying, like, what are you doing? You have clearly changed, and I can't talk about it. So that's one piece. The other piece is psychotherapy is like the first line of defense. If somebody's struggling, their friend, and they're bugging their friends and talking about a breakup too much or something, everybody says, well, you should go talk to somebody, right?
Mhm.
So, but that's not the same thing. And I know you know this from your own children.
Yes.
It's not the same thing as healing.
Right.
You don't necessarily want to change, you just want to feel better. So, a huge portion of my practice is people that just want me to listen and they don't want to change. And that for me wasn't working anymore because I had had so much pain and done so much transmuting of that pain. And I wanted to help people step in and be successful as fuck.
Yes. And it's so funny that you say that for two reasons. Because one, when I'm not in a period where I'm like really open to healing, because I have several different modalities that I use for healing. I noticed that my therapy really is like talking, like I just need someone to unload my week on that's not related to the stuff that I have to unload. You know what I mean? Like, and I just need to like get it out and have somebody who's just fully present for me and who actually cares about what I'm saying. They're not just present because they have to be. They actually care about what I'm saying and like engage in the conversation. But then also I remember, and it's a time period that's in the book. Actually, it was one of the most darkest,
Hmm.
saddest times of my life. And and I was like a teenager. I was 18, and somebody helped me find a therapist that would do it essentially for free. She said, I'm going to charge you $10 a session because I find that if I don't charge anything, that people don't show up. So she's like, so you need to bring your checkbook. She goes, do you have a checking account? I said, yes, I do. She goes, okay, you're going to come every week and you're going to write me a check for $10. And so I went every week, and I talked about like everything except for what was actually going on. And it wasn't even because I wanted her to listen. It was because I was like too afraid to unpack it. And I was just like, I don't want to deal with this. And then the last time was just like when I finally did, as an adult, go into therapy. I had so much going on in my current life that I was like, look, I sat down and I was like, I'm not here to lay on your couch. We're not going to talk about mommy and daddy issues. I have urgency right now. I want to deal in the right now. I want to heal right now. And I called it hacking at the stump. Like, I'm willing to go there with you a little bit, like a little bit, but I don't want to change that right now. I don't want to deal with that right now. I just need to deal with this, what's happening up here, not the roots, you know? And so I can see how frustrating that would be as a therapist, seeing that somebody is so deeply in need of healing and in need of change, and then being respectful of, number one, of their wishes if they don't want to go there, but then also in your situation, being respectful of the fact that like legality, you can't talk about what has been so transformational for yourself. So I can see why it was something that you needed to shift so that you could honor that part of who you are.
I think that's what it is, because not every therapist needs to make the switch. And I feel like that's something I want to say. Like, sometimes, of course, every therapist gets frustrated sometimes, of course.
Totally.
But this was particular to me and what my calling is in the world. It is a privilege to sit with people doing exactly what you were doing. I got a deal here. I can't go here.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah. Well, sometimes like even just dealing with this is like a step in the right direction.
Exactly.
For sure.
And I did it for years. It took me a long, long time. And I still resist the core.
Yeah.
I mean, ugh.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. Oh gosh. It's almost worse when you know what can bring you healing, and then things come up and you're like, I don't want to deal with that. Like, I don't want to go there, but you have to, like, at some point you have to, like, you can bitch about it for so long, but you're going to have to deal with it at some point. You know what I mean? Like, it's now or later. So do you want to feel stable as you go into it, or do you want to feel in crisis and go into it? So it is our choice, however we decide to go.
Always.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to ask you, this is a new question that somebody gave me that I thought was really, really cool. So what is the biggest fuck up that you've ever that's happened or whatever, that turned out for the better? So something that you fucked up that ended up being awesome, like really much better for you.
Wow. I mean, this is such a profound question. And there have been so many fuck ups. I can't even. I'm going to say, and this one is two-sided. Like, it turned out awesome and I still grieve it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, when I wanted to have a baby and it wasn't happening, I went to my doctor and he sent me to a fertility clinic. And at 34 years old, they told me my ovarian reserve was low. And at 42 years old, and I gave them all my power. I let them tell me that. It took a lot of loss for me to start to go to acupuncture and find other ways. I just didn't know. I gave away my power, basically.
Yeah.
And at 42, we found out there was something else at play entirely that I'm not going to say publicly, but
of course.
I gave away my fertility and my body to a system that didn't honor me. And that I regret greatly. But as a result, I will never do it again. And I can spot it a mile away when other people are doing it. And as a result, I'm a healer in a modality that I would not be doing if I had my small children that I hoped for.
That's true. That's true. And you are mothering change in this world.
That's right.
In a way that you would not have had the ability to do if you had, a different scenario.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, you are. You are.
I am. And you know how absorbing it is to have the little ones? Sometimes when my life is so open, I'm like, I'm not doing anything. But then at other times I can see I am doing something.
Yes. Yeah. Even if you're not actively working with a client, just your energy and the way that you love people. And Alison and I are in an organization together, and just the way that you are is so beautiful and wonderful and is so life-giving to other people. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to know you. And thank you for sharing that intimate story, because I know that we all have these things, right? And please know that in my book, I also put all of my shit on blast, like so much, like for me, mortifying, like embarrassing. I'm sure there are people that have done worse things or whatever, but for me, this feels very vulnerable to do it. And there were so many times where I wanted to pull back. And there were times where I did pull back when it involved other people. But I thought, you know what, this is my chance to give voice to regular people and to say, you can fuck up and still be a good mom. You can fuck up and still be a successful business owner. Your whole business could fail and you could still be a successful entrepreneur, because successful entrepreneurs do fail all the time.
All the time.
So, and like your marriage could fail and you could still be a successful partner to somebody else or to yourself. You know what I mean? Like there's a whole bunch of ways that we can fuck up in our life. That does not define our ability to achieve triumph, have victory. And we are just normal, regular people living our very extraordinary lives. And we don't give voice to it often enough. And that's really what I wanted this book to be about. And this show, that's my story, right? The book is my story. This show is about your story, about the next guest story. It's really about bringing life to the the people in my life, or the people that I get connected to that are willing to be vulnerable enough to come on the show and tell about something difficult or something challenging, something badass that they went through, whatever it might be, and then say, you know what, still here today. You know what I mean? Brushed my teeth this morning, a check, like doing good, like whatever it is. I make this analogy sometimes when I talk to people about the book. It's like, we need like an adult sticker chart, like we get 4 gold stars if we do this thing. And like, I paid bill today, so that gives me 3 gold stars. And then at the end of it, I get an ice cream. Like, that's like, how come kids are the only ones that get that kind of crap? We need that type of motivation too.
I have a box of stickers on my desk.
Oh, you should totally do that. Get a big piece of like white board, and then like have fun, like an art project with it, and then start doing stickers. Use up those stickers.
They make me so happy.
Yes. Stickers. Yes. No point in having stickers and not using them. That's for sure. Well, thank you, Alison, so much for coming, for your tender story, and for sharing with us. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who's joining us today. We thank you so much for sharing your time with us. And like I said, if you miss this on the live stream, but you catch us on the replay, drop a comment so that we can give you some love. We would really love to connect with you. And I will put Alison's contact information in the show notes so that you can reach out to her too if you have any questions or would like any information. So thank you guys, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Riah.